Hello and good afternoon and welcome to Travel Talk Thursday with Travel Time. For anyone who's joining us for the first time, we've been putting together these live conversations with some of our key suppliers since around the beginning of the pandemic to bring you some valuable information that you can put things in your bucket list, because we know everybody has bucket lists after going without travel this year. And we are building our own personal bucket list, and we think a lot of our clients are too, according to the messages we're receiving. So we like to bring you these live information sessions that will give you some key information and help you to select what you would like to do for your next upcoming travel. With that said, today I have the pleasure of introducing to you Ken Nickerson with Trafalgar. Hi, Ken.
Hello, Lois.
And Sarah Hamilton with Brendan Vacations. And those two companies are connected, and we will hear all about that as we move through the conversation today. So without further ado, welcome to both of you. And Ken, I know you're in Nova Scotia, and Sarah, you are in the US, I believe.
Yeah, I am here in New York City, a very cold New York City, but
Okay.
Yeah, everything is good. As you can probably tell, Lois, yeah, I'm far away from home, very far away from where my family
I can tell by
are.
that accent. I love it.
Yeah. So I
So
know that,
we know that you both offer the guided vacation experiences, and just tell us a little bit about how Trafalgar and Brendan Vacations are connected, because that's a rather new association.
Yeah, so we both belong to a parent company called the Travel Corporation, which is owned and operated by the Tolman family. And Sarah can probably tell you better the date that Brendan became part of our family of brands, but it was several years ago, and it has existed in the US. We didn't have it in Canada, despite it took years of begging and pleading to finally get Brendan in Canada. And thank goodness for 2021, we were able to finally get everything working properly, so that it would work seamlessly for you, the travel agent partner, and for your customers and our guests. But yeah, the date we joined, Sarah, do you remember?
oh, I can't remember the exact date, but we have been around, and for Brendan itself has been around for over 50 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so
And Trafalgar for about the same, isn't it?
Oh, Trafalgar started in 1969, or actually, no, I shouldn't say that. It started back after the Second World War. It became part of the Travel Corporation in 1969. But the Travel Corporation itself has been around for now over 100 years. We're actually in our 101st year of operation. Yes.
So explain to us what you mean when you say a guided vacation. What is that like for somebody who decides to take that type of a trip?
Absolutely. When I joined the company 12 years ago, we started, the Tolman family, just to give a quick background, had stepped away, had done some acquisition, but had kind of stepped away from management. As I joined in 2009, they came back to manage the brands, and we had a new CEO put in place, Gavin Tolman. He's the nephew of Stanley, our chairman today, Mr. Tolman. And Mr. Tolman had said he just felt Trafalgar was flat, like we hadn't changed. And as we know, as times change, people wanted more real experiences. They just didn't want to see the iconic sites. They wanted to get beyond the Vatican, and they wanted to meet
all
the
about the experiences today, and that's what we hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what our feedback was. So we took on a transformation of going from touring to what we call guided vacations. And we're bringing the word touring back as well, because we realized that it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing, actually. But I think it was all of the things that we did differently when it comes to guest experience on board and when we're in destination. And it's been, it's such a different world than what it was when I started 12 years ago with the Trafalgar brand.
So Sarah, what comparisons would you make between the Brendan Vacations experience and what Ken has described?
So with Trafalgar, they do the guided vacations, but with Brendan here, but in Canada, we do the independent travel styles. So we have the private chauffeur, the Lux self-drive, traveling by rail, or the one to take the open road and drive themselves. We can organize that. And it's really about, for Brendan, we're guided by our mantra of taking you personally. And we really want to make sure those itineraries are handcrafted and exactly meet the needs of the guests who will be traveling. So the difference is we can do any independent travel style. They can go to any nitty gritty wee place in Ireland and Scotland. However they want to travel, we can make it completely customizable for them. And having those unique exclusive experiences, like maybe learning how to pour the perfect pint of Guinness in the Guinness storehouse, or going to unlock the secrets of Edinburgh Castle over in Edinburgh. So it's all personal preference to how the client would like to travel. As I like to say, look, we're only two wee places. We know a lot about the two wee places.
I love it. And actually that is, it kind of covers the whole, because when a client comes to me, there's kind of two ways people look at the vacations. They want to see and do something different. Some of them want to be totally independent and kind of drive the car, so to speak, literally and figuratively, to everything that they do, what they see, how they spend their time. And some people want to be shown and explained the highlights and, all the iconic sites and even all the hidden gems that you have along the way. Which brings to mind that experience. I know that the hidden gems Trafalgar is well known for, so you can tell us about that.
Absolutely. And you're very right, Lois, about the different needs of travelers today. And that was part of why I was so desperate to get Brendan in Canada, because I didn't want to lose them. I knew not guided isn't for everyone. You're right. There are the ones who want to grab the wheel and be in control. And I knew we had that at that brand. So that's why I'm so excited about having it in Canada. But when we were making the changes to our trips and really trying to make it more immersive, and it's all about engaging all of the senses. And there are little things that we do along the way that it's not really scripted. Each travel director has their own set of hidden gems or little things that they do on coach. Just to share a couple that I've had over the years. We were leaving San Francisco after a couple of days. We were on the Northern California trip. And as we were leaving, our travel director started playing I Left My Heart in San Francisco as we're crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. And then he's handing out Ghirardelli chocolates. Now, I'm not sure if you've had Ghirardelli chocolate made in San Francisco, but it is divine. For those in Canada, winners, sometimes you can get lucky and find them. And it was just one of those magic day moments that Alan made as we were leaving this beautiful city. I have family in San Francisco, so I'm partial to that place. But I think one of the other great ones for me, we were on the Vimy Ridge trip back during the 100th anniversary of the battle. And as we were heading to Vimy from Belgium, because we couldn't get hotels in rural France nearby, that morning we had a guest on board. His great uncle fought at the Battle of Vimy, was buried in a small cemetery nearby. And Rob, our travel director, found the cemetery. So we were able to take John from Calgary to his great uncle's grave. He carries his full great uncle. He's John Costigan II. And he got to visit, he was the first family member to ever visit the grave. As we got back on the coach and we were headed to Vimy, we were only 5 kilometers away. Our travel director came through with these little shot glasses. And we're all like, well, I know we're Canadian, and yes, we like a little wee nip now and again. And it was a shot of black rum. And he explained how before soldiers went into battle, the Canadians were given a shot of black rum for liquid courage. So it was little touches like that, and this, Rob being from the UK, not a Canadian necessarily, but what he was able to bring to the table for us, unexpected, these little things, just amazing. It really, it makes such a difference.
Yeah, and it is about the experiences. Like, regardless of what kind of vacation around the world people go, they enjoy it when they're there, but it's really all about how they were made to feel and the memories they bring home. That's what sticks with you forever. And that's, that's why we like to suggest the very best travel experiences available for our clients, so that when they come home, it's all good memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we know that right now there is kind of a stop been on travel for a while, to put it mildly. So we do know that people have different comfort levels with the return of travel, but just thought I'd ask what you're seeing as far as bookings going through. I know that we're seeing some hopeful clients who are booking for towards the end of 21, with the news of the vaccine and everything available. There is lots of reasons for hope, and just wondering what both your companies are seeing as far as the return of bookings and when you expect to return, and what changes will be brought about. because of the current COVID situation?
Yeah, just to briefly mention, I actually just watched a briefing from our CEO of the Travel Corporation, Brett Tolman, and he's so positive about the light at the end of the tunnel, especially with the vaccinations, with the new presidency in the US and rolling the vaccination out very quickly, that we expect by June to hopefully be operating a lot of trips. I mean, a lot of it does hinge on what the other governments do require. But that's one of the great things that the Travel Corporation has done is we've worked really hard with the World Health Organization, with the World Travel and Tourism Organization to make sure that we are meeting all the protocols and putting in place special hygiene care for our coaches and making sure that all of our partners that we're dealing with, hotels, restaurants, sites we visit, that they're all meeting those same standards. And for Trafalgar, we will actually have on our coaches of 26 guests or more, a well-being director. And they will be assisting the travel director to ensure that all of the cleaning standards are met, the luggage is handled properly, it's all looked after. And that runs through, all of these practices really run through all of our brands. And I know Sarah can attest to that, what's happening in Ireland and Scotland, it's the same sort of protocols being put in place.
Yeah, exact same as just what you mentioned, Ken. Same with us as well, and having that 24/7 response team as well, because we do have the team in Dublin to be there, and all our drivers and our local hosts are all trained in hygiene protocols as well. Yeah, and we're following the local governments and just waiting like everybody else too.
Are we seeing any difference in the size of groups or anything as a result of this, where groups apply?
Yeah, we are actually, and that's something that we have addressed. We have where you can do your own private bubble. So starting
that's
at
a really
12,
good idea.
Yeah, starting at 12 guests, and of course there is additional cost when we shrink the number of people on the coach. But you can literally take your own coach on Trafalgar and go and enjoy the trip itself. We are also making sure that the proper physical distancing is kept and met on all coaches. So our guests going from 49, it'll vary according to country and distance needed, but all of those practices are taken into place. And Sarah has
very spacious coaches anyway, right?
They are. It's very comfortable, and again, all of the protocols being taken place on board with those well-being directors, it really will make a huge difference. And Sarah, it's incredible what Brendan has available.
Yeah, like for us, because we can do any size group, right? We have the private chauffeur, so from 2 to 200, so you can go with your friends, your family. All we got to do is increase the size of the luxury vehicle. So you can have that group, and it can be completely customizable. Staying in castles, manors, hotels. They want to stay maybe out in the countryside the whole time where they're there with their group. It's no problem at all. Yeah, so we can do any size group, go anywhere, and make sure it's unique to them, and we can definitely accommodate that. We are definitely seeing that a lot of people want to do that, traveling with their families as well, maybe multi-generational families, or going with a group of friends.
There is a lot of that for this kind of trip in particular, with the multi-generational and even extended family and friends that want to enjoy this type of thing together. It's not uncommon to get that kind of a request.
I love that, because there's such a connection from Ireland and Scotland to Canada, which is incredible. I don't know how these people did it all these years ago with their ancestors, like traveling with no phones. Like I have my mammy there sitting on FaceTime the whole time because I need her there, my family. Like it's incredible. And for us at Brendan to be able to connect our guests to that destination, no matter where they are in their genealogy journey, if they're starting, we can help them with that, or they're well aware where they want to go, and bring them to the streets where their ancestors used to walk in, which is incredible. It's like so heartwarming, and I'm so proud to have that connection as well with home and to over in Canada too, which is amazing. Yeah.
Well, that answers some of what I would like to know about next, and that is like who your ideal client is. Like who's your ideal passenger that would be interested in Brendan and also in Trafalgar, because there is a little bit of a difference, I think.
Yeah, I can go first. I always say it's travel for everyone. So maybe they're bucket list seekers, they want to celebrate a milestone, or they are traveling with family, or a group of friends. If they're active, they want to go hiking, do a hiking experience or kayaking. there really is travel for everyone. As I mentioned, because we can do completely customizable and our different travel styles, that we can do it for anybody. Yeah, they're a bit adventurous. They want to drive the open roads and get stuck behind some cows and some sheep, no problem. They want to sit back and relax and stay in castles the whole time they're there. That is no problem at all. So we really say there's travel for everyone. As mentioned, we have a team in Dublin and we know everybody knows us. So we know we can make it really personal to every single person who wants to travel to Celtic Isles.
Yeah, and for us, we've seen a huge change over the years in who travels with Trafalgar. When I first started as a travel agent many years ago, 25 years ago, we used to call them the ABC tours. And it was people that were retired because it was 2 weeks of castles and cathedrals and Tuesdays, if it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium because everybody was running the same itinerary. And as we started making the transformation away from traditional to really hitting the experiential side of it, we saw the market change for us. A lot of working professionals who are burnout, ready to just let somebody else take control. They just want to sit back, relax. They don't want to drive. They don't want to plan. They would just rather have somebody look after them. And we've seen our average age, and it'll fluctuate between 45 and 52, taking out the family unit because we do have family trips as well. But just looking at that core group traveling on Trafalgar and on our Cost Saver brand, it's even cheaper. Younger. As well. But yeah, it's changed a lot. We're getting a more and more the working profession. We have honeymooners now traveling on our coaches. So it's really has changed a lot over the years, but it is really for people who want to sit back. I'm a Trafalgar guy because but I'm also a private chauffeur guy who wants to stay at Ashford Castle. But
depends on the day.
I would prefer somebody else do the planning and the travel, the arranging, and just tell me when and where I have to be. And it's great. It's not as structured as people perceive it as being. You do have a lot of free time today.
And no real early mornings, right?
No, not what you used to see. I mean, an 8:15 a.m. start is, usually the earliest. There might be a morning if we're trying to get ahead of traffic or there's an event taking place, especially if you're in places like Rome or London, where state visits can really change the plan. It's not, and we have a leisure style where it's 9 a.m. starts. So and normally if we're starting early, it's because we have VIP access to a venue where it's just us. It's just Trafalgar Castle. It's worth it getting up. It is, especially at places like the Vatican, where our guests are seeing it without the crowds, and it just makes all the difference in the world.
The next thing that I'd like to ask you about, because I think our listeners would be very interested in this, because I am really interested in this. And at Travel Time TPI, we've chosen to partner with suppliers who have a protocol of giving back and sustainable travel, all these kinds of things that are important to many, many people today. And I know that you're very heavily involved in that. So tell us about it.
Yeah, 11 years ago, the Tolman family started the Tread Right Foundation, and it's our not-for-profit organization that is in place to ensure that we do everything we can to protect the people, the planet, and the wildlife as we travel. Brett Tolman is on multiple boards when it comes to sustainable travel, making sure that what we do, we leave a smaller footprint. With over-tourism, we know that's an issue, so we try to get out. We'll always see the iconic sites, but we'll do it when it's quieter, and then we'll go out to the countryside. We'll visit the mom and pop businesses, the family farms, just to make sure that we spread those tourism dollars around. We have a program called Make Travel Matter, where what we do, we're supporting local businesses. We have one in Jordan that we visit. It's called Iraq Al Amir Women's Center. And we not only do we visit, but we funded a building, the reconstruction of their buildings. They were working in really a building that wasn't fit to be open. So today we can visit the new center. We can buy local goods that these ladies are crafting in Jordan, and we have a wonderful lunch with them as well. So we give back to the community, and our guests do it without having to pay it. Like, it's already done for them. It's taken care of. And I know Sarah can mention some of the great work that Tread Right has done in Ireland as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's so incredible. And I know you're like me, Ken. I am so proud to work for this company and family of brands, TTC. Like, so proud. They're incredible, all the work they do. For Ireland, for example, we have this UNESCO site up in Northern Ireland called the Giant's Causeway. I know a few years ago back, unfortunately, there was a fire in the visitor centre, so we did help rebuild that. And going to these like outside into the west coast of Ireland, these places that wouldn't necessarily be like the iconic spots for people to visit, like going out to farms and helping a geopark over in the Burren. So just some of these examples, and really helping the country. And even for Ashford Castle, for me and for our home, we're so proud of Ashford Castle, this 800-year-old castle in the west coast of Ireland, that it's actually brought jobs back to that area. This beautiful castle, restored it, it's stunning. So it really is, everything they do is absolutely incredible. I'm very, very proud.
I'm glad you mentioned Ashford Castle. I spent 3 great nights there a couple of years ago when I had the privilege to be in Ireland. And it is an experience. Really hard to describe what that experience was like, because it was different in so many ways and superb to anything you could even imagine in so many ways.
Yeah, it's absolutely, I'm so glad you got to experience this, because it is something that's just like jaw dropping from the moment you come around the wee windy roads. It's incredible. And you're right, there's so many experiences and different ways you can have time there. Like from a family, there's I don't know if you got to do the falconry, which is amazing. Yeah. It's like these majestic hawks coming to flight, they land in your arm. It's amazing. There's golf there. You can go for a taste in the wine cellar, or go to watch a movie in the movie theater. But this beautiful 5-star property is just, it's the most beautiful place I've ever visited. And I think for me, I don't know if you agree with this, the reason why I think it's so special as well is the people that are there too. They really make it feel like home.
Some of them seem like, they were born there.
I know.
They've worked there forever. They really did seem at home and make you feel at home. Yeah. And I love it that so many of the Trafalgar itineraries include a night at Ashford Castle. I think that is one of the things that certainly speaks to most clients. If they see that on the itinerary, it certainly adds to the experience, and it makes it a very desirable option to go to.
It does, and that's one of the things that we undertook starting about 6 years ago, was to find properties like Ashford and add them to our itineraries. And we call them stays with stories. And they take on different personalities depending on where you're traveling to. But I stayed in a cave hotel in Cappadocia in Turkey a few years ago. And again, just be mind-blowing. I mean, it's not something I could have ever expected to experience. And having dinner that evening and watching the Whirling Dervish, or it's just, again, it's endless, the list of properties that they have developed, or not that we've developed, but we've found that tell the story. And the vacation doesn't end when you check into a modern hotel, that it still carries on the characteristics. And as you know, Lois and Sarah and I both have been at Ashford as well. It's like the cream of the crop. It's the icing on the top of the cake. It's the cherry on the sundae. It's beyond words. Yeah, it is beyond words to describe it.
So tell us what your top tours, if somebody's thinking about, a Brendan Vacations or a Trafalgar tour for later in 21 or even in 2022, what are the top choices that people are selecting? Or if somebody's never done a guided vacation or done that type of vacation, what are some of the, ones that they should pay attention to first?
For us, outside of UK and Ireland is so popular in the Canadian market, we've seen a big increase in bookings to Scandinavia. So Norway, Sweden, Finland, the Baltic states, to like getting down into Croatia and those areas, the Balkans. Those areas really have come alive over the last number of years, actually. And I think what we're seeing right now, and something that we've discussed internally a lot, is that guests have been penned up for a while. They're ready to go. They've got a little extra cash maybe. So those destinations that probably were a little expensive before, now they're like, you know what? I've never not traveled for a year, so I'm going for it. So I think that's why we're seeing that kind of growth. But even the Asia market, Japan, another program for us that we've seen grow leaps and bounds in the last 4 years.
What about you, Sarah?
With Brendan, because we have the independent travel styles, we can go any time of the year. So a lot of people love coming, particularly the end of the year, towards the cozy season, as I like to say. So people will come and they'll stay in these beautiful properties. And look, we never get too hot or too cold at home, you know? So it's just, I always say, put yourself in the cozy season. You got your big peat fire, you've got your Irish coffee, you're sitting there. And again, with any of our travel styles, they're all equally as popular. If they want to travel on their own with a train, or they want to drive, or they want to have that chauffeur experience and be in the cozy season in Ireland and go and stay in castles or manors or hotels or B&Bs. Yeah, so really any of our travel styles, because we can do them throughout the year, it's perfect, absolutely perfect.
Good. So if somebody's interested in booking now and planning, there are lots of people who are not going anywhere right now, but they are certainly ready to dream and plan ahead. So if somebody's looking at later in the year planning, what are the terms like? Have you made things more flexible that people can make provisional bookings and still have flexibility built in?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the great things that I'll mention with the Travel Corporation, TTC, Brett Tolman made a statement back in the fall about how solvent we are as an organization. We are family owned, and they're in fine financial shape. Just with the Red Carnation Hotel chain alone, they have over $300 million US in assets that are outrightly owned. So the guest money is safe when they book with us, and they do have the flexibility with right now with Trafalgar and Cost Saver, and I believe it's the same terms for Brendan as well, that they pay their $200 deposit. Within 30 days, they can, if they decide, nope, I'm not ready yet, I think I want to pull back, they get their $200 back. And if they want, they can make changes right up until 30 days prior to departure. So if things start to shift and if they're uncertain. If they decide to cancel before final payment, always keep in mind that the $200 deposit becomes what we call a flex deposit. So it doesn't disappear. It will always sit there. We say for 5 years because that's how long we can track it. So for 5 years, they have a travel credit with us that they can use, and they can use that on any of the Travel Corporation brands. They could have a Trafalgar booked, decide, you know what, I'm not comfortable with the group size. I think I want to move to Brendan. No problem. We can shift that to Brendan, and away we go.
Sounds good. People are looking for flexibility. That's one of the questions I've been taking repeatedly, even for people who are ready to plan, ready to start dreaming and putting things into that bucket. They do like the idea of being able to change, because we see how quickly things changed on a dime. And I mean, even continued to, from March up to now. And who knows, that is kind of the world we live in today. And people like the idea of not having money tied up in something if they should change their mind. So it's good to know that it's not a loss if they were to change their mind. So that, I think that's a really important point and a really important tool for people these days. I'm not sure if there's any other piece of information that we haven't looked at. I know that the current situation we've covered, and as far as the flexibility in booking, and that things are being taken care of as far as the worry-free travel and the COVID precautions and everything that is in view right now. Is there any niche market groups or types of travel that you see repeatedly, that you see requested, or you have clients, passengers looking for? And I'm thinking of things like ancestry searches and things like that, reasons why Canadians would want to go to Europe and spend time. Is there anything in particular that stands out as being a reason that you see people looking for your services, your products?
For me, we definitely see, because we have that local connection at home, and we have those connections with hoteliers, with local experts. So people are really traveling and they really want to maybe taste the flavors of the country. So maybe doing food tours or whiskey tours. Again, multi-generational is huge for us in Ireland and in Scotland as well. And do people really want to get out there in the open? Maybe they've seen the iconic sites before, they want to do that, but they also want to really delve into culture and get out into the beautiful countryside as well. And we can do all that, get them to any wee nitty wee village they'd like to go.
So that's good to know. If people have a particular interest in something, they can do that.
Absolutely. They want to do a whole whiskey tour, no problem. They want to do a bike, they want to do biking experiences, or they want to go and listen to Irish music, or they want to go out to the Highlands. Whatever they want to do, we have something for absolutely everyone.
Food is important. So that the whole, the culinary experiences of being in a different place. And I know when I was in Ireland last, we did a bit of a road trip and drove all the way up to Belfast from Ashford Castle, which was an interesting drive. And we found a little coffee shop along the way where they had the best buns and scones, and oh, it was absolutely delicious.
You have me dreaming here. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just want some scones and some nice Irish butter on them.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, and it was delicious. So, I know that food experience is important to a lot of people when they travel, and, getting to enjoy things you just read about beforehand is really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think with one of the great steps, and which really initiated this whole change for us, was the Be My Guest program, or connecting with locals and trying to find those family businesses, family homes, and bringing people together with the local people. Really struck a chord with our travelers, and it's now we offer them on almost every trip we have globally. I think one of my greatest experiences, it was a bit emotional, I always have a hard time talking about it too, was in Japan. And we were in Kyoto, and we met a mom and daughter at their traditional Roikan, and we had lunch with them. So the mom, of course, spoke Japanese. The daughter could speak fluent English, so she would translate for us. And we were there with our CEO, Gavin Tolman, and his wife, Tony. So Gavin was asking questions, and he said, based on the ratings, that this was one of the guests in Asia. It was one of the top Be My Guest experiences, learning about their home and their little restaurant and how they almost lost their business. But because Trafalgar came to them and set up this Be My Guest experience, we saved their home for them. So the mom starts to explain. So Gavin's thanking them. And then the mom starts talking to her daughter, and you could see her getting emotional, the mom. And so the daughter composes herself, and she said, we thank you because we would have lost our home if it wasn't for you. And it's those sorts of connections and knowing that the good that we do with that program is so incredible, but it's just that opportunity too to sample the foods. Like Catherine Fluvio in Ireland, I think she's outside of Dublin. I met her in Belfast last year at our global conference, 2 years ago, 2020, gosh, or 20, whatever year that was now, 2019, I guess. And just to meet this incredible, internationally renowned chef, who even again talking to us at the conference, she got very emotional, and she was literally tears in her eyes, and she said, Trafalgar guests and Brendan guests that are coming to my home become our friends. And she said, we love it. And there are some video clips that have been shared on our websites from people like Catherine saying, we miss you, we can't wait for you to come back. So it's like a love. Yeah, it's a great relationship that we have with these partners globally, and it really helps connect the guest to the destination. And the food is to die for. It's second to none.
Part of my attraction to the whole travel experience over the years is about the traveler's experience, but it's also about the people you visit along the way, and the places you get to go and kind of share and get a sneak peek into what life is like in those areas. So there's everybody wins. The traveler wins, the places you visit, those people win as well. So it is a win-win. Sounds good.
Yep, absolutely. It truly is. One thing I want to ask Sarah that I forgot to put in the notes, Lois, but at Brendan Vacations, we have the queen of everything Gaelic and Celtic, and a special lady named Catherine Riley. So if Sarah could just quickly mention a little bit about Sarah and Catherine's collection. Sarah could mention about Catherine and her collection. I think that would be the icing on the cake. So I think she's just the most incredible lady I've ever met.
Oh, she is amazing, Ken. Yeah, I call her Banreen, which is Irish for Queen. She literally knows everyone, never knows her. She's amazing. She's been with Brendan for over 35 years. And as I said, our team and herself have created these amazing relationships with hoteliers and local hosts all around Ireland and Scotland. And together we have this collection called Catherine's Collection. And it's hand-picked, hand-selected accommodations and also experiences and activities. So the accommodations from castles, hotels, manors, B&Bs, because we can put these in any of our itineraries when you travel to Ireland or Scotland. And they're all hand-selected by Catherine to make sure that the highest of standard as well. And the activities and the experiences are part of this collection too, because we know that we wanted clients to have the most personal time, and we have these established relationships with maybe, let's say, Pat Liddy, who does a tour over in Dublin, or Michael Martin down in Cork, or Dee in Belfast, all these magnificent characters and storytellers that bring the destination to life. And that's how we map out these itineraries and these experiences to connect people with these storytellers and the people of Ireland and Scotland. So that's Catherine's collection, and she really is incredible, and she's such a beacon of light and embodiment of Celtic expertise, as I like to say.
Well, that is a lot of great information. I am sure that there's been some tidbits here that will pique the interest of travelers who are looking at putting things together for their bucket list for 21 and 22 when they're comfortable to travel again. And we totally understand that people's comfort levels with travel will vary tremendously. And we have clients now who are ready to go, but just waiting because of the quarantine. We have people who say we want to wait until everybody's vaccinated. We have the whole range within our clientele. So whatever people's comfort level, we're okay with that, because we know that to enjoy travel, you need to have that comfort level restored. And it's coming. There's light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a matter of the time, and we'll be patient and wait. And we know that Ireland and Scotland are waiting, as well as all of the other destinations that Trafalgar offers. So whatever type of travel style anybody's interested in, we have it here between these two suppliers. They certainly can do that for us. And Ken did mention that if anybody is interested in Trafalgar or Brendan Vacations and books within a couple of weeks of this travel talk, that he has a special little gift that we'll send out. So we'd be happy to facilitate that for anybody, any of our clients who wish to put something on hold, knowing that there's flexibility there still. So you're not tied into something that you can't change if your comfort level should change between now and travel date.
Yeah, absolutely. All they need to do is put a deposit down, and I will happily ship. I meant to have them ready to show you, but it's a lovely tote that we have for our travel talk events and backpacks. So I can send one per booking. Somebody's ready to book, and again, it's just deposit is all they need, and then they're locked. Again, they booked their seat, and you're right. If their comfort level changes, that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll help them
Absolutely.
make changes. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that we're a little concerned about is we're seeing that people who are hesitant may be left out when they are ready if space is booked up. So that's the other concern. So it's a good idea to plan ahead and to what your comfort level is looking forward today and knowing that it can be changed.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of people moving to 2022, especially a lot of our group business. So we are seeing coaches filling up. And with the operation of Oberammergau and different things coming back together, eventually it will put a strain on what's available. So certainly it is important that people book in advance. And before we go, I do want to quickly mention that don't forget they can travel within Canada with us as well. We have great programs right across the country. Two of our hottest destinations and itineraries are the enchanting Maritimes, Canadian Maritimes, so Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, and Wonders of Newfoundland and Labrador with St. Pierre.
We can stay close to home.
Yeah, I have groups booking it out of the Maritimes, but we have a lot of interest from Ontario West and coming to the East Coast. And we have got one of the most incredible itineraries in Newfoundland and Labrador. I think it's just absolutely brilliantly built, and it's getting a lot of interest. So we're doing our part to get your industry, and you're ready to welcome us back. Trafalgar's ready to bring them to you.
Well, we're waiting, and we're ready.
And I know the hospitality in Newfoundland is equal to that in Ireland, and I enjoy every moment I get in two of those beautiful parts of the country and the world.
I'd like to thank both of you for sharing the time today and all of this great information. I'm sure that there's lots of details here that people didn't know beforehand. So just knowing more about the product and the offerings, I think is a very valuable thing. And we do thank you sincerely for taking the time and sharing that information with us. Thank you to both of you.
Thank you so much for having me, and for Ken as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, and so appreciate the support, Lois.
Thank you.